Hi you guys. So in this video I'm going to work on a Impi Carb. It's a copy of a Weber IDF carb. The guy says it's got a big flat spot and he's asked me to look into why it's got the flat spot. This is how we do it. So this is the carby. That's how you spell Impi. I suppose it's a Chinese copy and they call it a 40 HP MX. It's basically a copy of a Weber IDF carb. I'm going to do a few things. I'm going to make a better spring arrangement there because that just doesn't look nice. I won't cover that in the video. And then I'm also going to bend this the other way because it's got a throttle down here and the pin that pushes it is way out. But the problem, you can see it straight away, is that spring over there. So when you throttle, let me put it upside down. When you throttle, it doesn't move the shaft as it should. And needs the proper circlip there. So I'm gonna look at that arrangement quickly and also look at what the diaphragm is like. But before I do any of that, I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna put fuel in the float bowl and just see what the pump does. So let me do that quickly. So remember, when you take anything apart, it's always a good idea to have a tub close by to put all your nuts and bolts in. Number one, you're not going to lose them, and once you've assembled everything, you should have an empty tub, otherwise you've forgotten something somewhere. So yeah, top tip, I would say. So the carby inside looks the same as the Weber, and I bet you all the spares will fit. I'll try that a bit later. But it's got the spray nozzle there for that choke, spray nozzle there for that choke. Obviously that's a little non-return. That's also a little non-return, and then in the bottom of the float bowl, there where my screwdriver's on, it's got a little non-return in the bottom that allows the fuel into the diaphragm, obviously. So what I will do is I'll put a bit of fuel in there and just see if that arrangement works. I'm just going to hold this in my hands. I've got fuel in there, as you can see, and I'm throttling. And you can see there's only a few drops coming out. It doesn't squirt. I'm going to hold it a bit further. Look at the drops over there, and how far I throttle it before anything happens. See there, good couple of millimeters. That's not good enough. So that could be quite a few things. There's no action happening there, and I've got a suspicion is that spring at the bottom, and also the spring behind the diaphragm. I'm going to take that apart and just have a quick look. So this is the carby upside down, and as I throttle, it doesn't move the diaphragm enough. So I'm going to replace that spring. I'm going to put a circlip in there and put the correct nut and bolt on here so that it can be adjustable. There's just a certain tension this has to have. See, there's got some play before it actually pumps. I'll make up that and then we'll take it from there. I've taken the diaphragm off, and it's in quite a bad state. Started to delaminate, so I don't have one. I don't work on these carbies a lot, but I'll get a new one. You can see there it started delaminating, so that could also contribute to the problem. But this was the return spring on it, and it's very slack and very skinny. This is one from a different carby. It's actually way stiffer than the original one, so I'm going to install this one. It will make it more responsive. So yeah, I'm going to put that bit together and then see how it pumps. So I think I've come up with a solution here regarding the springs. So I've changed that spring. There's actually 3 springs on there, and I've had to put 2 little nuts there that I drilled the thread out. to get the spacing correct. Because what needs to happen, the minute that you throttle, that's going to move to pump. And remember, I've put a stiffer spring in there. That could actually be a little bit stiffer than what it is at the moment, because it doesn't return it all the way. See, I can push it back with my hand, and I would like for it to be able to return. So I'm going to put a small spring there with a washer and a nut, but I'll do that later. Just want to see how it pumps with fuel. But now I think I'm there. So the minute that I touch the throttle, I've also drilled that out, put a little pin through there with a little washer so it wouldn't wear it out there, and I'll make a better arrangement, yeah. But I think it'll work like that, because that lag is now gone. And when you throttle flat out, you now have the spring not to damage the diaphragm, because if it's solid, you're not going to throttle fully and you're going to damage your pump diaphragm. And when you return, it actually, I think it's pretty good like that. Obviously it'll have a little bit of pressure when there's fuel in there, so I'll just change everything around, put a bit of fuel in and see how it pumps. But I think that will be the solution. I think I've solved the problem. Obviously I must put a new diaphragm in there, but I'll test it with this. I don't have one right now. Anyway, let's see how that pumps. So okay, I've got it all set up, fuel in the bowl and everything, and I've noticed something else. So if it is much better. Just look at the fuel coming out of there and the movement on the throttle. So when I see, now it comes, and if I leave it a couple of seconds and I throttle again, it's lagging. See there? Can I leave it a couple of seconds? Now it's lagging. Now it's there. So what happens, that little ball, look at the movement of that little ball when I throttle. So that little ball doesn't seal properly. See, when you throttle, it must let fuel through. And once the fuel's through, the little ball must go down, and it must stay there, and it must seal, because you have fuel right up to here. There's also a non-return in there. So you have fuel right up to there, and if that little non-return doesn't seal properly, you're going to have that delay on the throttle right there. See, I have to look at the butterfly at the bottom. Now it's coming out properly. So the spring has done the trick. I'll do it like that. Sorry for the shaking. The spring has done the trick. See there? But when you leave it a few seconds and you pump, well, now it's better. Maybe it must just work a little bit. I'll replace that anyway. But now it sprays properly all the way. Leave it a few seconds. Yeah, it's getting better. I'm thinking I'm going to replace that non-return anyway. It looks the same as the ones on the IDF Weber IDF Carbs and the 36 DCD. I'll take it out and have a look. So I took the little non-return out, and it seems fine, but it had no gasket at the bottom. It came out just like that. So now whoever has put it together expects that brass to seal against aluminium casting, and it's not gonna happen. So it needs a little copper washer similar to that one, so because that's soft, so you can compress it. So I'm gonna put it back and see what it does. So I've got it all back together, and it's working better. But then I noticed this. Have a look there. See, it's pushing out fuel there. That's obviously now leaking into there, and it's not going through the jet. So I'll take that apart and put new seals on there as well. Does it on both sides. Let me replace that, and I'll see you in a sec. So I wasn't happy with how the original little non-return valve performed, because when I pumped it like I'm doing now, there was a lot of swirl in the bowl, in the float bowl, And I could also see the little ball just sometimes just hovering there. Now I've replaced it with one from a 36 DCD, and you can see there when I blip it, it's there straight away. So these Hong Kong things, they're fine, nothing wrong with them, but their parts don't always work as they should. See there, when I blip it, it's there straight away. Anyway, so conclusion, spring was a problem, a little non-return valve was a problem, the two spray jets, they didn't have the decent gaskets on, that was a problem. It just shows you that these copies, they are substandard to what you would expect from a Weber. But I think once you've sorted out all these other glitches and problems, they can work just as well. There's no reason why this carb can't work just as good as a full-bred Weber. The parts are exactly the same. You just have to change a couple of things here and there. Anyway, I hope this helps someone. Be safe out there. Keep well.